Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Just a Fan Podcast. All right, I am quarter host, the NFL Encyclopedia Wildcat quarterback, Brandon Williams. Over here to the left is the quarterback that runs the whole thing, Trish TV. Down below, the top defender of this whole thing,
I'm
Pando 316 right.
I'm physically ill. I'm as you know, I'm a Niners fan. I'm physically ill at Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and the whole organization. They have made me physically ill.
All right. Well, we're gonna get into that in a minute. And why Eric is ill. But first, let's start off with the quarterbacks. Okay. So we have some quarterback things going on. We have Tyler Heineke who beat the Green Bay Packers. Washington Commanders with Tyler Heineke beat the Green Bay Packers this past Sunday. The Indianapolis Colts has a new starting quarterback and Sam Ehlinger
That's a disaster waiting to happen.
over Matt Ryan. This is a Jim Irsay move, not a Frank Reich move, not a Chris Ballard move. This move from Jim Irsay. And we also can talk about what's going on in New England with Mac Jones and Billy Zappe, whatever his last name is. If we think anything about it,
Bailey Zappi.
Billy Zappe, yeah. And then we can also talk about the struggles of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers if you want to.
Tristan, I'm gonna give you the floor and I'll just chime in.
So in regards to Taylor Heineke, in regards to Taylor Heineke and the win over Washington, the win over Green Bay. Listen, it wasn't pretty. It's not to say that he lit it up, but what it does say is that he, first of all, has a different rapport with Terry McLaurin that Carson Wentz just does not have. Terry McLaurin came alive in that game, and he's done that before with Taylor Heineke. Um, Taylor Heineke just brings a different energy to the ball club, different energy to the team. It's not to say he's not more talented than Carson Wentz by any means. It's not that, but sometimes just certain things, certain chemistry um, works, um, and some that don't. And I think what's being proven is the fact that it's probably not working with Carson Wentz. Now, here's the problem as a fan that I have with this situation. One is because of what's going on. Say if Taylor Heineke might be the starter for the rest of the season going forward, you have an issue where if Washington somehow rattles off a few games and get themselves to about 7 to 8 wins, so they would have to win 5 more games out of the rest of the duration of the season. If they can do that, it gives the coaching staff another season to make an excuse of why they should stay. Where I believe that it might be time for a change. Um, Also, and I see what you're saying, Jameson. I don't even think it's the fact that they like him better. I think it's just the fact that they know Taylor Heineke. They've seen Taylor Heineke be a gamer. They've seen him go all bore for the squad. That great playoff game against Tampa Bay when on that Super Bowl run that Tampa Bay was on. We almost didn't see that Super Bowl run. Taylor Heineke almost made that happen. So because we've seen it, they will rally around him because they've seen him be a gamer. They've seen him lay out, for the team, so to speak. Um, but again, like I said, the problem with the coaching staff is it gives them another out because Carson Wentz doesn't have any guaranteed money. We can release Carson Wentz. My also issue is that if they win some more games, it hurts them in the draft status because now you're possibly looking at when I was looking at maybe there was one team that might have been looking for a quarterback. Now there's a potential of three or four because you're talking about the situation in New England. We don't know how that's going to pan out. You're now looking at the Colts with them benching Matt Ryan. Sam Ellinger is not going to be the guy, so
Heck
that's not
no.
going to pan out. So that's already two teams right there. You already accounted for the Carolina Panthers that they don't have anybody, so that's three teams right there. So now it's starting to mount up the teams that might be looking for a quarterback. And even though this is supposed to be a decent class of quarterbacks coming out, there's only really two true. I don't want to say bona fide because quarterbacks are so hard. There's no one that's like fully guaranteed, but at the closest ones, there's only two, and that's C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young out of Ohio State and out of Alabama.
And I'm gonna
Not
be
really.
honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really impressed by that much by either one of those guys.
And that's what I'm saying. There's nobody that's like a bona fide guaranteed to be a star. So that's
Now,
in that's what the Taylor Heineke portion.
now I've
Now,
heard
if
some good things out of Bryce Young, but go ahead. I'm gonna let you keep going.
so, I want to go on to talk more about with the Colts situation. Here's the
Hold on,
situation.
hold on. Before you go on and leave the Taylor Heineke situation,
Oh, go ahead.
I like to also bring up that Taylor Heineke is a free agent at the end of this year. So that adds another aspect, another facet to this conundrum that the Commanders have. So
Yes,
if he does play well, it's like okay, you got to scramble to re-sign him. And if he does play well, that means you won a bunch of games. It means you're not drafting very high, which means, like you said, Tristan, it's gonna be harder to get a quality quarterback. So they're kind
yes,
of spinning their wheels in mud, kind of.
and they still have to take a look at what Sam Howell is going to be because Sam Howell, yes, was drafted in the fifth round, but this guy was graded as high as a late first round pick. So they have to give him a look to see what he's going to be. So it's a lot of question marks at that quarterback position. But for the time being, let Taylor Heineke do his thing. I'm happy they won. I like Taylor Heineke. I just know he's not the franchise quarterback for the going on for the future.
I think he's a,
Now,
I think he's a great backup. I think he's
I think he's a
fantastic.
Oh,
fantastic
definitely,
backup.
definitely.
I would love to have him as
Fantastic
a
backup.
backup. Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic backup. In regards to the Colts situation, so now the Colts now, I'm not people. A lot of people thought because I had a lot of people text me today when they found out Matt Ryan was getting benched because people thought I was going to go off on Matt Ryan and talk about Matt Ryan. I'm not. This is not a Matt Ryan bashing moment because what I've been saying about Matt Ryan for years has been proven. I don't need to beat a dead horse. It's already been proven. It's already out there.
That horse is definitely dead.
Mm.
Exactly. So this is all about Jim Irsay. This is all about Jim Irsay. You have had seven, because this is gonna make seven. You've had seven QBs come through your franchise since you forced Andrew Luck to retire.
Mm.
Seven.
I want people to think about that. You go from you had a bona fide franchise quarterback drafted number
Yes.
one overall in
Yes.
2012. This is
Yes.
2022. The man Andrew Luck should still be on the roster as the starting quarterback for the
That
Indianapolis Colts.
screams that screams mismanagement.
Yes,
It
Honestly,
screams mismanagement.
yes,
And
seven
so
different
now,
quarterbacks.
you're in a position where you, as the squad, are going to be one of the teams that's looking for a quarterback to draft next year. And none of those quarterbacks will amount to what Andrew Luck would have amounted to for you.
Nope.
So this is something that's going to haunt probably for the duration of his tenure as the owner, really, because unless down the pipe we see something come up, everyone's going to have that what if on you. Because if you took care of your guy, I mean, and it was literally laid out for you. You literally got the Green Bay treatment. You went from one Hall of Famer to another potential Hall of Famer, had Hall of Fame talent, and you squandered it. you squandered the Peyton situation. It's clearly Peyton still had a few more years to be effective
That part.
already. He proved that to you when he won a Super Bowl with
Denver
with the
Broncos. It's
Broncos.
not even just
Now,
winning. He went. He went there twice.
albeit he went there twice, albeit the second time around was more so the defense. But understand that Peyton Manning also could have won an MVP while being on the Broncos roster. The man came out the first game of him being a Denver Bronco. He threw 7 touchdown passes against the Ravens. Like so you squandered that. You lucked up, no pun intended. You lucked up and drafted Andrew Luck #1. And by year two, this man was having you in damn near in the AFC Championship game. And all he needed from you was a quality offensive line and a quality run game. That's all he really needed. He was making it work with Ty. He was making it work with all these cats. He just needed an offensive line
Those two tight ends
and
he
a,
had.
and a solid running game. That's all Andrew Luck needed. He was doing everything else for you, and you squandered it. And the reason why you have to take the blame, because I'll never forget that interview he had where he said when they were talking about Andrew Luck and talking about Andrew Luck's injuries, and he said, "Well, Andrew Luck is a football player. Andrew Luck's not just a football player. Andrew Luck is a franchise quarterback, and
Mm.
you use them as like a battering ram. You use them the way Carolina used Cam Newton. That's why I don't
Yep.
blame Cam Newton's career on Cam. I blame Ron Rivera and the Carolina Panthers.
Better preach.
That's their fault because y'all saw the physical tools of this guy and said we're not going to develop anything else with him. We're just going to use the tools that he got. And then in Andrew Luck's case, he had all of the tools fully, and you just didn't want to protect him because you're like, well, he can run. He's as big as the linebackers that he's playing against. But he plays quarterback. He does not play running back. He does not play tight end. He is not a lineman. He plays quarterback. And you have literally cost 10 years of your team contending in the AFC, along with the Patrick Mahomes of the world, along with the Justin Herberts of the world, along with the Tom Brady's of the world when he was in the AFC at the time. When your team could have been right there in the middle of all of that, possibly at the top. We might not even be talking about Patrick Mahomes the way we do if Andrew was still there.
I,
But
th-
because you
I disagree with that. I think we still be talking about Pat
I
Mahomes,
said
but
I said might. I said might.
yeah,
But
I
right
think
now, because we look at Patrick, the reason why I say this because we kind of look at Patrick Mahomes by himself in his own entity. But everything that Patrick Mahomes could do, Andrew Luck could do. Everything. And he might have been a little smarter at the position. So that's what I'm saying. It's like that we missed as fans, we missed watching a potential Hall of Fame player because of this man. And your team has suffered for practically 7 years now because you haven't answered it after him. So that's on Jim Irsay. And we're gonna go through this carousel again. It's gonna be another starting quarterback again. How many years have we gone through with starting quarterbacks for the Colts? I think for the past 4 years,
It's
it's been a new
4 years now.
starter. Been a new starter. So we're
since
about to go to a fifth year. Right.
This coming season,
10, if you count
guaranteed.
from the Andrew Luck on, you talking about 10 years.
Right. So now we're about to go into the fifth season with
Mhm.
another starting quarterback. Another quarterback that the receivers that you have on the team have to get used to. Another quarterback that the offensive line that you have on the team has to get used to. You see how that looks? That screws up everybody else because now they have to get used to a whole other person. They have to get used to a whole other person, the way they call the cadence, the way that they throw the football. Everything is a science. Everything is repetition, is continuity. And you can't have it because the most important position on the field you haven't fixed.
Well,
And, 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 and-
that would segue perfectly into what I want to talk about, but we'll get to that later about mismanaging teams and doing silly stuff. But let's keep going with the quarterbacks. I want to get into you.
but also, I was gonna say something too. About that. Shoot, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay,
So
so we can talk about New England. Bailey
yes,
Zappi, everybody's already talking New England fans, like real New England fans. I ain't talking about people that just became New England fans when Brady was there. to my real New England fans. Real New England fans are right calling Bailey Zappi the next Tom Brady because he comes out of nowhere and he's winning games and whatnot. It's impressive. What the biggest story is not so much Bailey Zappi, it's how Mac Jones has gotten benched. And I'm gonna say for the record right here on Just a Fan Podcast, October 25th, 2002, I said I was not impressed with Mac Jones. I was not impressed with Mac Jones. Everybody was like, Mac Jones this and Mac Jones that. I was like, first of all, he need to get rid of that Bill Belichick. Second of all, I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I watched his pro day, and I'm like, he's missing wide open receivers. Well, nobody was being covered. He's missing his receivers in an indoor facility. Like I'm like, really, bro? So I'm not everything like you said about Matt Ryan, Tristan. I feel about Mac Jones. This early in your career, you being benched, really? So it is what it is. But I'm already hearing rumors about they want to trade Matt
But what
Mac Jones and da this, and the rumor mill's gonna spin. But we have to wait and see.
now? What I will say to that in regards to Mac Jones though is that I'm not going to so much blame Mac Jones for his benching, more so than I'll blame Bill Belichick. You had no business benching that man. You were. This was not a game that you had to make a move. This was not it. The man's coming off of an injury. You have to give him the reps to get back into the swing of playing, and you benched him. So now you create. You've gone out of character because one thing with New England, what they don't do is that they don't deal with controversy. So you went out of character now because now you're dealing with controversy.
Not to mention messing up with his psyche, messing his psyche up.
Let me ask you a question.
That's
Let
go
me
ahead,
let me
Brandon.
ask you a question. Did Bill Belichick panic?
Yeah,
I think he did
yes,
because nobody
and
wants to lose. Nobody wants to lose to the Chicago Bears. Okay,
right.
on national TV. That is an embarrassment.
He panicked, and everybody talking about, oh, well, the score was 10-0, and then Zappi came in and scored two touchdowns. Okay, what was the end of the game score?
33-14.
Okay, so when Zappi came into the game and scored them two touchdowns, he didn't do nothing else after.
Pretty much.
So who's to say Mac Jones, who you drafted, Bill Belichick,
First round.
First round.
you drafted first round. That's who you drafted. And you said that you were thankful and grateful that he fell so you didn't have to move up to get him
Mm,
because that's the guy you wanted. Who's to say that Mac Jones couldn't have pulled it together in that game and at least got you the same result? At the very least, got you the same result. 'Cause it ain't like Zappy came in, threw four touchdowns, and made a comeback and won the game.
exactly.
So who's to say Mac Jones couldn't give you the same result? But at least the excuse for Mac Jones was he's coming off an injury. He's getting his legs back together. That
Yes.
could have been the excuse.
Yes.
Now you've created an unnecessary mess for your team going forward and have damaged the psyche of your first round pick.
Also, you didn't win the game. That's the most important thing. You didn't win the game.
Because you only make a change like that if you believe the other person can win you the game.
You know the old adage: if you got two quarterbacks, you got none.
Oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to see what's gonna happen in New
Well,
England.
and look. Belichick knows that he's missing Tom Brady. Really, at the end of the day, he is. He's missing Tom Brady, and he has a lot of problems just on offense. Period. Whether it's the staff, now it's the quarterback position, it's the wide receiver, tight end position. I said on one of our previous episodes, they have the highest paid wide receiver slash tight end group in the NFL, and no one
Hmm.
can separate. No one can separate. So
But you also have,
you lost your offensive coordinator and replaced him with a defensive coordinator. You lost the offensive line coach. Um, you now have a quarterback controversy, which was unnecessary. So I don't know. I just think really at the end of the day, Belichick's going to have to retire eventually. I don't know when he's going to do it, but he's going to have to retire eventually because the New England Patriots, especially on offense, is a mess. Now the defense might be good because I heard they have a good corner they drafted, but
Or they
um,
have to, or he has to let go of the reins and not be the GM. That's really what it is. He's a pseudo GM. He picks these players.
Mismanagement.
Bro, you
well,
can't. You clearly
he,
don't have an eye for talent.
he can pick players on defense.
Can we even say that? Can we even really say that? A lot of the defensive players kind of fell into his lap over the years. The Willie McGinnis of the world, the Richard Seymours, they were kind of no brainers. You
Well,
had to get them
actually, some of those guys might have been Parcell picks more so. Those
right.
early New, that's right. You're right. Okay, because
Rodney Harrison came as a trade,
right. No, no,
and
I'm not
that
counting him.
and you
Um,
had and you had to hope that worked because you traded away Lawyer Malloy, so you had to make that work.
his only successful picks would be McCourty, Woolfolk, Hightower.
Stephon Gilmore was a trade, so that's not him.
Where Gilmore come from?
Buffalo.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So that's what I'm saying. So when you look at it, himself as an evaluator of talent, he ain't the guy we think he is. You just had a guy in Tom Brady that basically made a meal out of scraps for you.
Well, since we're going to talk about mismanagement, let's move on to the big news of the week.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a whole lot of stuff that's happened. We got the trade deadline coming up next Tuesday. We've had a few trades happen since last week. Today we had the Cowboys trade with the Raiders and got Jonathan Hankins, the nose tackle. On Thursday, the Jets and Jaguars made a trade, and the Jets ended up with James Robinson to replace the injured Brees Hall. But the biggest trade since the last show was the Christian McCaffrey trade from Carolina to San Francisco, and
Hmm
49ers giving up four draft picks, including a second, third, and fourth in 2023. Um, Now, before Eric gets started, I do kind of want to defend it a little bit. From what I understand,
You can
they
try to defend it. I'm going to eviscerate that crap. Go ahead. Try.
um
I'll wait.
so they basically outbidded the Rams to bring in Christian McCaffrey. They did. They outbidded the Rams because the Rams was going to trade Cam Akers over to Carolina
hmm
and bring in Christian McCaffrey, and of course, some draft picks was going to be swapped. Now, what draft picks was going to be swapped, I'm not sure, but yeah. So they traded for Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey has, I think, 2 or 3 years left on his contract, so this is not just a 1 year rental. He'll be there for another couple more seasons, and we'll see if he gets any kind of extension. Um, but I think for the I don't want to say like short term or long term. I think it's kind of like in the middle. I think this is not a bad move. Let's say for the midterm.
Did you watch the game yesterday? I mean, Sunday?
And I know where you're going because it's Jimmy Garoppolo, it's Kyle Shanahan. I get it, but that's why I said I'm not saying short term or long term. I'm saying midterm because I'm more so looking more so forward to next year when you all have Trey Lance back at quarterback.
I'm looking at next year, too.
But
And it
Jimmy
was a
G should
stupid
be your
trade.
starting quarterback next year, right?
It was a stupid trade.
Why?
All right. Here we go. First of all, let me say this. Christian McCaffrey is a hell of a player. I'm not doubting that. I don't mind having Christian McCaffrey playing for my team. I want to qualify that first before I go off. It's not the fact that we traded for Christian McCaffrey, who's a scheme fit in offense. It's the fact that we gave away so much We don't pick in the 2023 draft until the end of the second day. Those are compensatory picks. You gave away your second because you didn't have a first, your third, your fourth, and a fifth next year. Let me explain. Let me break it down in the car value for you. If the blue book on a vehicle for the mileage that's on it is $6,000, that's the blue book value, and I turn around and I pay 16,000 for it, I'm an idiot. That's what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan did. You have basically waged the whole top half of your draft for a guy. It wasn't a need. It was not a need. Now, does San Francisco have the best running back room in the NFL at this point? Absolutely. Especially when Elijah Mitchell gets healthy. But did we really need a running back? The offensive line is porous. You just lost one of your best corners to a season-ending injury. You got injuries all over your defense. It was an emotional trade by Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Don't believe me? Let's follow the receipts. Brandon, where did Christian McCaffrey go to college?
Stanford.
Where did John Lynch go to college?
Stanford.
Who's Kyle Shanahan's dad?
Mike Shanahan.
When Mike Shanahan, before he became a head coach, he was the offensive coordinator. Well,
San Francisco 49ers.
who played wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers besides Jerry Rice and John Taylor and all of them?
Ed McCaffrey.
Who is Ed McCaffrey?
Wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, who's the dad of Christian McCaffrey, who also followed Mike Shanahan to the Denver Broncos, winning 2 Super Bowl rings.
Where did Kyle Shanahan play his college football?
Would a Cal play college football?
Uh-huh.
Now that part I don't know.
University of Texas. That's not important though. But what was his jersey number?
I'm assuming it's probably Ed McCaffrey's jersey number.
Ed McCaffrey's jersey number. The McCaffreys and the Shanahans, they like cousins. Kyle idolized Ed McCaffrey. And basically, Christian was like a little brother to Kyle. It was an emotional and stupid pick. It was an impulse buy, something that we had no business doing. Okay. Christian McCaffrey does not play defense. Okay.
Understand?
And our defense got embarrassed. Granted, our interior defensive line is still out. Hey, Titus. Our interior defensive line is still out. We got one on IR. We don't know when they coming back. Okay. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't play offensive line. The interior offensive line is a crappy doo-doo mess.
And I give you all of that.
I'm not done. Then there's also one thing to consider with Christian McCaffrey is his contract. Did you happen to watch the Miami Dolphins game the other night?
No, I didn't.
You know who the starting running back for the Miami Dolphins is?
It's probably Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert, who basically can do everything Christian McCaffrey can do, but he's cheaper. And we didn't want to pay Christian McCaffrey. Raheem Mostert. We let him walk in free agency.
Yes, you did.
Instead of paying him, keeping him around with Elijah Mitchell and all these other guys, not having a very expensive running back room, but still having a great running back. And then we would still have all our picks. The fallout behind this was that Brandon Ayuk is going to be a free agent soon. Christian McCaffrey contract is going to make it very difficult to re-sign a guy like Brandon Ayuk, who is more important to the team than Christian McCaffrey is. It may even make it difficult to re-sign Nick Bosa. So people can talk all they want, and I say this all the time. Every fan base has knowledgeable fans, and every fan base has stupid fans. Okay? And most of the people who are 49er fans who are just jumping up and down about this trade don't really understand the inner workings of football and how it's going to hurt us down the line.
So basically, they're not looking at the big picture. They're just looking at They looking at the move, they looking at the name, and they just see just a small picture. The right there, the moment. They in the moment.
Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Okay, they going some people gonna say, well, he just got there. It was amazing how he learned so many plays. He got a lot of touches that first game. He's only gonna get better. This is true. But this is also we're also talking about Kyle Shanahan as the play caller. He made after his script is over, Kyle Shanahan sucks as a play caller. Once his script is exhausted, he makes no adjustments. And anytime the 49ers see a good team with a good defensive coordinator, they get monkey stomped. And that's what happened against Kansas City. Christian McCaffrey could be there all day, but Kyle Shanahan limits the team with his nonsensical play calling. There was no urgency in the fourth quarter. You down by 12. We're going no huddle. They was huddling up, taking their damn time, getting to the line of scrimmage. Kyle Shanahan, let me be clear. We already had weapons on this team before Christian McCaffrey. So when I look at us adding another offensive weapon, all I'm looking at is another player that Kyle Shanahan is not going to use well.
And one thing I saw about Kyle Shanahan, and I did not know this. His record is 1-30 when down by 3 points or more. Let me see. Let me get the back straight. In the fourth quarter. So when the 49ers reached the fourth quarter and Kyle Shanahan's down by 3+ points, his record is 1-30. So so that whole script thing to me sounds about right. It sounds accurate. And to me that's a shame because I think Kyle Shanahan is a smart head coach, excuse me.
He's smart, but he's extremely arrogant and borderline. I don't know. I want to say borderline, just sociopathic when it comes to coaching. Like he thinks he knows it all. The people been gassing him up for the longest. Oh, he's a genius. He's a genius. He's a genius. So whatever he decides, he thinks it's the best thing, even though it'll be completely asinine to do. He does it anyway. Now, can he design plays? That still remains to be seen because I said it before. Mike McDaniel, who is now the head coach of the Dolphins, is really starting to shape up to look like he was the brains of that whole outfit. And some people are like, well, he was Kyle offensive coordinator. That's because you didn't do your research. Everywhere Kyle has been as a coach, Mike McDaniels was with him.
Houston and Atlanta.
Everywhere.
Definitely.
Everywhere.
No, I don't think it's with him in Washington or Cleveland.
But Houston and Atlanta.
You definitely Houston. I definitely know Houston and
Atlanta. It's outside zone scheme that the 49ers used to run so well. They can't now. Don't do very well at. Well, look at Miami.
Well, no, and I get what everything that you said on the big picture. It's just they like you said they reacted emotionally because they're trying to keep him from the Rams. They heard that the Rams was probably close to making something happen.
I blame John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan for that. Because somebody has to be there to slap Kyle Shanahan on the hand and say no. Somebody's got to be there, even when it comes to play calling. They brought in Anthony Lynn this year, and Anthony Lynn sits there and let Kyle Shanahan just do dumb shit. Dumb stuff. Okay, all through the game. There needs to be somebody on the sideline say, "Hey man, don't run that. What is wrong with you?"
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if Shanahan and Lynch know, but I think also this trade puts them on under a microscope because if this doesn't get the 49ers,
no doubt,
a Super Bowl victory,
and it won't.
Maybe even just an appearance,
and it won't.
They both could be gone.
It won't. It will not.
and and that's going to be unfortunate because that's going to be wasting a lot of players' careers
Yeah.
because Trent
Uh-huh.
Williams is in his 30s. George Kittle's only. I mean, I'm not saying Kittle's old, but he's going to get older because his time is going to be wasted. Kyle Juszczyk, Devo Samuel. You said Ayuk might have a hard time coming back. Nick Bosa might have a hard time coming back. Fred Warner's career is going to get wasted because of this. So if this does not net San Francisco a Super Bowl victory over the next
And,
couple of years,
and it will not. And if they do not make the playoffs, which is highly probable that they will not
it's
make the
going to put them on a
playoffs,
hot seat.
they hot seat my behind. He been there 6 years. He gotta go. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have to go. If this does not get it, we're not even gonna get the playoffs. Forget a Super Bowl. Forget a
So
Super Bowl win.
hold on real quick.
No,
Titus,
they don't have a first round. They
they don't
traded
have a
three
first
first
round
rounders
pick.
to get Trey Lance
They don't have first round pick, second round pick, third round pick this year
or a fourth.
or fourth.
The
So
only thirds we got third round compensatory picks. They wagered the entire draft. I have not seen a trade this stupid, and Titus don't get mad. I've not seen a trade this stupid since the Saints traded for Ricky Williams.
you mean the Dolphins trade for Ricky Williams?
No, the Saints traded up to get Ricky Williams in the
That's right.
draft.
That's right. That's right.
That was stupid.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
That's
Because they
how. That's
traded.
a
They traded with
level.
Washington.
That's a level of mismanagement and ineptitude that we can't even begin to start to talk about. What we try to encapsulate it into a 1 hour show, and what really, really not a 1 hour show, but just this segment.
And really, the only other trade that was worse than the Ricky Williams trade was Herschel Walker trade.
And then, the Cowboys got Herschel Walker back after all of that. Yo, that was insane.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I'll never forget because the trade happened on a Thursday. As some of y'all know, I'm a band director. We were on the bus. We were on the bus. One of my band boosters right in the seat right next to me on the bus, and we always looking at our phone on the way to the game. And he goes, "Hey man," shout out to Quentin Thomas. He's like, "Hey man, y'all just traded for Christian McCaffrey. Man, you ought to be like y'all ought to be excited." I was like, "Wait, what did we give up for him?" He said, "Why you not?" I said, "What did we give up for him?" I said, "I'm not jumping up and down until I see what we gave up for him." And then when I saw the load of picks that we gave up for this guy, again, I'm not besmirching Christian McCaffrey in any way. I think he's a fantastic player. I do. But for what we gave up for him is asinine. And it's going to hurt us down the line in the long run. You heard it here first. October 25th, 2022. We're not making the playoffs. And if we do, we're going to get an early exit. And down the line in future years, fall 2023, fall 2024, we're going to still be paying for it. We're going to be paying him and paying for it. We're going to be talented players that we ain't going to be to draft. Now, the upside of this is typically the 49er scouting department is pretty good about finding guys in late round that wind up being studs. They are pretty good about that. But that's a big gamble for a guy. For a guy you bring it in that's not really, he's going to help, but he's not plugging holes that you have. The interior offensive line of the 49ers is god awful. The right tackle, Mike McGlinchey, who's a first round bust. He is awful. We could have traded for a lineman. We could have traded for a corner. We could have traded for any of those things. We trade for another running back. Go figure. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm sticking to my guns on that. If you want to argue about it, let's go in the comments and we can talk. But I'm just telling you right now, it's a damn mistake. It's a big mistake. Again, not before anybody said, "Oh, he called Christian McCaffrey." Sorry, no, you have bad comprehension. If you think that's what I said, that is not what I'm saying. What we gave up for him was ludicrous.
All right, Eric. Let's segue to a couple of middle of the pack teams who probably should not be middle of the pack at all.
Are you talking about the whole NFC?
Well, actually, I was going to say that just I was going to really focus more so on the Green Bay Packers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Uh,
with
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady at the helm.
Well, we'll be brief about that.
That's fine because after that we're gonna get into your picks.
Right. We'll be brief about that. I still think Aaron Rodgers is having chemistry issues with his receivers.
Definitely.
I think that's the problem. Could it be fixed? Yes, it can be fixed. But I mean, right now they got to figure out how to get it together. I mean, they just lost to the Washington Commanders, bro.
And Trish said on last week's show, "Don't be surprised if Washington wins."
Nope, he did say that. He did say that. So you have that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is a conundrum. I don't know what's going on. They still have basically the same team that they had last year, which realistically they should have been in the NFC Championship against San Francisco if Todd Bowles hadn't called the doggone zero blitz and got a safety covering Cooper Kupp, one of the best receivers in the league. That was dumb. Other than that, they should have beat the Rams. But that's a big conundrum. I don't know. Maybe part of it is the personal stuff that Tom Brady's going through right now.
That's heavy.
I don't know. I won't try to speculate on it because I don't know. But it's really an enigma as to why they are just not getting it together. Again, can they get it together? They got the talent, absolutely. But Green Bay and Tampa Bay are two really big riddles. I don't understand. They at the beginning of the years, they had some people having Green Bay playing Buffalo in the Super Bowl. Some people had Tampa Bay and
Kansas City.
Buffalo and Kansas City interchangeable.
Yeah, definitely.
These guys look a mess, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on. You can say that about a few teams in the league. It's like, what's going on? They're supposed to be contenders, and they don't look it. The only teams that are looking like contenders right now are in the AFC. The preseason contenders that we had already talked about, they look like contenders.
Definitely.
But the NFC is a hot mess. Now, this is the thing. The NFC, because the entire conference is awful, with the exception of the Eagles and Giants, because the entire conference is awful, we can see somebody in the next 10 games completely flip that conference around. Some of the teams that are right at the top could be falling down. Some of the teams that are at the bottom could rise up because there's not that much of a difference in games. Like, you got some guys that are 3-4, you got some guys that are 4-3.
Yeah, because
you got some, they're like a game or two behind each other. Like, so you look at the worst team in a given division in the NFC, it's maybe only a game behind the best team in the division in the NFC.
Yeah, because the top 4 teams in the entire conference are the Eagles 6-0, New York Giants 6-1, Dallas 5-2, Minnesota 5-1. Everyone else is 4-3 or 3-4, like you said. Because Green Bay's 3-4, Chicago's 3-4, Washington's 3-4, Tampa Bay's 3-4, Atlanta's 3-4, Seattle's 4-3, Rams 3-3, San Francisco 3-4, Arizona 3-4, Carolina 2-5, Saints 2-5, and Detroit 1-5.
And they can tell you got 10 games left.
Yes.
So, it could change. It could really change. Some teams could get their act together. Some teams just gonna be what they gonna be, and some teams that might be, fighting through high cotton right now may not be by the end of the season. It's the NFC is a pick 'em, the whole conference. Now the AFC, that's a different story. You got Buffalo, you got Kansas City, you still got the Bengals, who are starting to get their act together. That offensive line is getting better each week, which I'm gonna talk about in my picks. But the guys that we picked or that we talked about or that everybody talked about being the contenders in the AFC are still playing like they contenders.
Right.
So you know, it is what it is. But this has been a crazy year talking about picks because we had several upsets last week that caused me to be 9-4 on my picks. Like
Ooh, hold on.
nobody saw the Commanders beating the Packers. Nobody saw what was it? Let me find it. Let me pull it up last week. Nobody saw the Commanders beating the Packers. Nobody saw the Cardinals beating the Saints. It was crazy. So nobody saw the Seahawks beating the Chargers. So yeah, and I took 4 losses right there on my picks.
Hmm.
I'm still above 500. I'm 9-4.
Well, I tell you what. Let's segue into that. Let's go ahead and talk about your picks.
All right, this
Go
is
ahead.
Pando's picks for week 8. All right, so the Ravens are playing the Bucks. Uh, if you once again, it's a pick'em game for me because the one time I pick against the Bucks, that's when Tom Brady gonna lose his mind and throw for 500 yards, something like that. That's just how it is. The Ravens have a propensity, a predisposition to basically find ways to give games away. And if you're a real Ravens fan, you know I'm telling the truth. The Ravens should be undefeated right now, but they find ways to give games away. It's a pickup game. Now, gun to my head, I'm going Buccaneers at a home team, and they got more to prove. So that's a pickup game. But I got Bucks over Ravens. Okay. Uh, give me the Cowboys over the Bears, and the Cowboys better beat the Bears. I'm just saying, if you want to call yourself a contender, you got to beat up the whack teams. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely. And I actually heard the Bears have a good run game, which I was surprised to hear about
they do.
that.
They
But
do.
Dallas traded for Jonathan Hankins today.
And
Um,
that's the thing. It's like they went and made. Everybody knows I'm the president of the I hate the Dallas Cowboys fan club. However, I got to be real. That was a smart trade. That's where you guys were weak at. Interior defensive line. That made sense.
yeah, yeah, he's gonna rotate with Quentin Bohanna, another big nose tackle, playing either the 0 or the 1. Between those two guys, they should really, really help shore up the run defense probably for the
So
remainder of the season.
so you know what? You know what? This game, this Cowboys over Bears game is my Stone Cold lock of the week. And by
Okay.
the way, I'm undefeated on my Stone Cold locks. By the way, that's the gimmies. Give me the Eagles over the Steelers.
Yes,
Yeah, that was close to being a Stone Cold lock, but I'm waiting for the Eagles to trip up and mess up. They got it in them. They gonna get the big head eventually, and they gonna trip up and lose to a team they're not supposed to. That's gonna be the thing.
yeah,
It ain't.
because
It ain't.
the Eagles schedule is favorable for the rest of the season, but they're not a good enough team to go undefeated. They're gonna lose 2 or 3 games before the season's over with.
Yeah, they're gonna slip up against a team again. It ain't gonna be like a big time game like they playing the Cowboys or they playing the Giants or playing another good team. They're gonna play somebody that they supposed to take to the woodshed and whoop, and they're gonna lose to.
Exactly.
They're gonna lose to a team they're not supposed to lose to, and everybody gonna be questioning the Eagles. So, but not this week. I got the Eagles over the Steelers. All right, give me the Jags over the Broncos. Um, I don't know what's going on in Denver. I'm not even finna. You got some people that saying ludicrous stuff like Seattle won the trade by, by trading away Russell Wilson. I'm not ready to say that yet.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's still too early to even say that because
We're
Russell
7
Wilson's
games
time
in,
in Denver is not finished. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that yet.
right?
Um, you said Denver's playing Jacksonville.
Yeah.
The only thing going correct right now for Denver. Oh, and I heard Denver could their teams are calling for KJ Hamler, which means they could lose another receiver, um, or even Jerry Judy. The only thing that's going well for Denver right now is the defense. The pass rush, they get after the quarterback, and the secondary is good. But other than that, no, I agree. Denver's struggling. if Jacksonville can find a way to block Denver's pass rush, then this should not be a problem for Jacksonville at all.
And that's why I have Jacksonville over the Broncos. I have
Okay.
the Jags are playing much better football than we thought they would be. Uh, so they're the type of team that'll sneak up on folks and bust them in the head, take their wallet. So yeah, so it's Jags over Broncos. Give me the Pats over the Jets right now.
Mm.
And that could change based on who's the starting quarterback.
For who?
The starting quarterback for the Pats.
So
Zach Wilson started for the Jets.
yeah, I know, but okay, maybe I shouldn't ask that question, but why should it depend on the starting quarterback? Because I mean, talk to me.
Well, Mac Jones gonna go out there and crap the bed. Bailey Zappi go out there and throw some touchdowns. So, yeah, I like the Pats over the Jets. However, the Jets defense is rough and ready,
Yeah, they
so
are.
they can pull that out. Robert Saleh is coaching his butt off over there, so don't be surprised if the Jets pull that out. But gun to my head, Pats over Jets. This is a divisional game. All divisional games are kind of like, you know how that is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Give me the Saints over the Raiders. Okay.
Saints over Raiders.
Yes. New Orleans people, listen to me. The Who Dat family, listen to me. If y'all can't win this game, throw the season away. I'm serious. Throw the season away. If y'all can't win this game. I really with the defensive lineman being gone, Kamara. Who's the other running back in New Orleans? The other guy.
It's not Ingram, is it?
Yeah, Ingram. That's all. Take the ball out of Andy Dalton's hands, and then you play action off of that. And you
Because shoot.
that
Now,
back end of
I
the
will
defense
say this though, Andy Dalton did have a good game this past weekend, but that's a once in a lifetime thing. We know how Andy Dalton throws the football. He always throws the ball to Pam Oliver on the sidelines, throws the ball to the cameraman, throws the ball to the chain gang.
hot
throws the
dog
ball-
vendor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he loves to do.
So I got the Saints over the Raiders. Saints, I gotta win this one. This is a must win because
Yeah.
this season is slowly circling the toilet. Give me the Titans over the Texans. Again,
Yeah,
this is
just
divisional game. Ain't no telling what could happen. But right now, the Titans look a little bit stronger than the Texans right now. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a really close game. But I still like the Titans over the Texans.
Okay.
Give me the Giants over the Seahawks.
Yeah.
The Seahawks defense is still bad. I don't
Yeah,
care
lost
what
DK Metcalf.
Kenneth Walker does not play defense. Kenneth Walker does not play defense.
And they lost DK Metcalf.
And they just lost DK Metcalf on top of that. So I think the Giants can go in there, go into CenturyLink, whatever they call that stadium up there now, and win and get that one. Give me the Commanders over the Colts. And simply because the quarterback situation is more solidified out of those two teams.
Mhm.
I don't trust Sam Ellinger to throw my paper to my front door, let alone quarterback a game. Okay. So, and Taylor Heineke proves that he can make some really spectacular plays. He can screw it up, but he can make some spectacular plays. So I got Commanders over Colts. Give me the Rams over the Niners. The Niners are still reeling from that beatdown that they took from the Chiefs. And quite frankly, I'm not picking the Niners to win anymore this year. I'm just not. I have zero faith in that organization at this point as a fan, as a real fan. I have zero faith. And I know most people are going to say, well, you know, they got the Rams number in the regular season. They didn't beat the Rams, 7 times in a row in the last 3.5 years? Yeah, this is true. But never, ever, ever underestimate Kyle Shanahan's ability to screw up a game. And then if that happens, never underestimate, because I didn't get on him tonight, Jimmy Garoppolo's ability to screw off a game. Jimmy Garoppolo, he pulled the I'm a trash quarterback hat trick last week. He threw an interception. He lost a fumble, and he got tackled for a safety.
Mm,
That is the quarterback I am trash trifecta. Absolute trash. And people was all excited when Trey Lance got hurt and Jimmy was back in there. I said, well, there goes the season. Yeah. So yeah, look for him to throw a few, drop a few in the pocket because that offensive line is still horrible. With
definitely.
the exception of Trent Williams. So I got the Rams winning this one.
Okay.
Uh Give me the Bills over the Pack. Like I said, the Packers could fix some things, but it ain't gonna be against the Bills.
No,
Everybody talking about Josh Allen and all that stuff. Ain't nobody talking about the Bills defense. If the Commanders can hold him down, the Bills doggone sure can hold him down.
man. Shoot, Von Miller gonna sack Aaron Rodgers at least 2 or 3 times this game.
Yes, sir.
Aaron Rodgers feeling throw 2 or 3 interceptions.
Yes, sir. So I got the Bills over the Pack. Give me the Bengals over the Browns in a close one. Because the Browns know how to control the clock and run the ball. They've been playing solid football. But I think the Bills are starting to get some traction. I mean, excuse me, I said the Bills, Lord. The Bengals are starting to get some traction.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're starting to get really rolling. It was bumpy at the beginning, but they're really starting to get some traction. And watch out, Jamar Chase is starting to act the fool again.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow put on a clinic
Sure did.
last week,
Sure
and I
did.
was so happy because you know who had Joe Burrow on their fantasy team? This guy. So I won that by a landslide.
There you
But
go.
just off of Joe Burrow, a lot of my players went under their projections, but it didn't matter because Joe Burrow put on a clinic.
Hey,
So they're starting to get traction. I think the Bengals going to be a problem for a lot of teams down the line if they keep that momentum going.
definitely.
So to recap, Bucks over Ravens, pick'em game. Cowboys over Bears, Stone Cold Lock. Uh, Eagles over Steelers, Jags over Broncos, Pats over Jets, Saints over Raiders, Titans over Texans, Giants over Seahawks, Commanders over Colts, Rams over Niners, Bills over Packers, Bengals over Browns. And
All
I'm going
right.
to take the Theraflu because I'm still physically ill behind that trade. That trade was so bad it gave me the flu. I'm just
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are finished for tonight. Don't forget, currently we are live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If not, if you're not able to catch us live, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Like I said, next week is the NFL trade deadline at 4 p.m. Eastern. So we will catch you up on if any other trades happen between by the time we log off and next week. Also, I believe once that trade deadline expires, if a player is released from the team, I think he's subject to what is called the waiver wire, and any team can claim him and the current contract that he's under, and you have 24 hours to claim him. So I am quarter host, NFL Encyclopedia, Wildcat quarterback Brandon Williams,
I'm the
and that is
Hellraiser. I'm the Hellraiser.
well, he said that's what he is. So, ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Peace.
Peace.